Hey, this is another mining video from Ashley K. Today I want to talk about the most important aspect of your mining adventure, which is how to properly cool your miners. And the trick that has saved me a lot of time and money is this idea of negative pressure. So I've drawn here a picture of an L3. This is the side view, the front and the back. And we all know that you have cool air that is pulled in from this fan, goes through the machine and exits the machine back here. That's the hot air, obviously. And what people don't factor in is how to move this air properly. The best way to do this is to get yourself an additional rear fan back here that can pull as much air as needed based on the number of machines you have. The easiest calculation of that is to count the number of fans on the backs of your machines, and if it doesn't have one on the back, then count the front ones and multiply that number by 250. So if you were to have 8 L3s and multiply that by 250, then you've got 2000 CFM. That means this fan needs to be 2000 CFM. The reason why this works so well is that the machine generates so much heat that you need to get the heat away from the miner as fast as possible and make sure that that heat is not recycled back to the front of the miner. And so you can check one of my other videos to see what I'm about to draw now, which is seeing this setup in a bigger context. In one of my setups, the fresh air is going through the front of a cabinet and it is exiting the top of the cabinet. This cabinet is covered on as many sides as possible to prevent any air from going anywhere else. So that way I ensure that air goes in and air is taken out. The miners are on graded shelves, and that allows the heat to come out the back of these and rise up. This fan right here has a CFM that is greater than or equal to the amount of air that I need to move through the number of miners that I have. If you haven't learned already, fans are what generate the most noise in the environment. The way to reduce that noise is to reduce the fan speed. The way to reduce the fan speed is to reduce the temperatures. If you remember, L3s, and this applies different to other machines, but L3s themselves run best from 60 to 70 degrees Celsius. So the air coming in can be totally fresh air. There are hardly any places, at least in the US, that are going to be topping 60 or 70 Celsius. So any air coming in is already cooler than the temperature that is inside the miners. So in the other video, you'll notice I do a very quick comparison of the amount of noise that happens when you have a setup with proper airflow. That setup drops the noise from 80, 90, 100 decibels down to a comfortable talking level where I can be on the phone next to the cabinet and you can't hear a single thing. One thing that's important about this this fan is that I keep a thermostat down here, and this thermostat has a range. This is what makes it so nice, and it's programmable. So you have basically, we'll do this in Fahrenheit now. So this is 100 Fahrenheit plus. There's a 80 to 100 Fahrenheit, and then there's a 80 Fahrenheit or less. And on the bottom, if the temperature behind the miners, not in front but behind, is below 80 Fahrenheit, then the fan is off. If it's in 80 to 100 Fahrenheit, which is about 90% of the time for me, then it's on a low speed. And then if it's 100 plus, it's on high speed. And this is an industrial type of fan. It can take that high speed for hours and hours and hours and hours on end. It's rated for like 100,000 hours running full time all the time. And this has really helped not only move the air that's hot behind the miners out of the space, it's got so much power that it's using negative pressure to pull air from the ambient air through the miners. And you can accomplish this in a number of ways. My setup is based on the space that I'm working in. Other people have used where it's a flow through, it's a straight flow through design. I've seen immersion systems, I've seen container systems, but one thing I've learned is that negative pressure is the way to go, and it's the cheapest way to go, especially since I can tell you that this fan right here is less than 200 bucks. You don't have to use AC, you don't have to use fancy immersion. Just get a fan that moves enough air, gets the heat away from your miners. And once you can solve the problem of airflow, cooling comes easier, noise comes easier, and then you can figure out how to expand your system without annoying everybody around you. Thank you.